Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Before we start the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all the support I received from you. And as always, all the information in my videos is rumors taken from the internet or the street. I'm not saying the information is fact.
Pick your mans up.
Just because people used to come through shooting us every day. And this block, words can't even explain. Can't even explain.
Yeah, man.
Little School Valley, 05 way on money.
Young Money, man. They in the building.
600 boy LA, man. LA Capone, man. Get it to him, man. OC2 boys, man. Team
Michael number 9, man. Number 9 shooter, you hear me?
Hey, bitch, you little bitch. Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you? Hey, I am Brick Squad. Yeah, Brick Squad, what the fuck is you talking about?
You have to be willing to die or go to jail for 100 years if that's the lane that you're stepping in. You have to understand that whether you're 15, 16, you got to think like a man. You know what I'm saying?
So don't be in it. Oh, you're not? Why does everybody say you're only 16 years old?
They say what they want to say.
How old
how old are you?
300.
The story of Q50. This is the story of Q50, a prominent figure from MTV 079/ Hound, who has gained significant attention in recent years, not just for his presence on the streets alongside Lil Jeff, but also for his music and the charisma that fans can't seem to get enough of. Despite not being the biggest name in the game, Q50 has a rare ability to stay consistently relevant, earning respect both in the streets and online. Most recently, he made an unexpected appearance on a live stream with popular streamer Neon, surprising many and adding another chapter to his rising profile. We hope you enjoy this video. Q50, born McQuale Cooper on August 6, 2004, is set to turn 21 soon. He was raised on Chicago's east side but spent much of his early life moving between Chicago and Gary, Indiana, where his grandmother lived. With his mother still in high school when he was born at age 16 or 17, Q50 spent a lot of time at his grandmother's home in the suburbs of Gary. Despite that, he attended school in Chicago and, as he shared in a DJ Vlad interview, often made his own decisions about where he wanted to be. Q50's father was absent throughout his early life, and they didn't meet until Q50 was around 12 or 13. When they finally connected, his father promised to be present and involved, sparking a brief period of happiness and bonding. However, that hope was short-lived. His father soon disappeared again, leaving Q50 to cope with another emotional setback. According to Q50, his father claimed the reason he wasn't around was because his mother allegedly kept him away and wouldn't allow him to be part of Q50's life. In an interview, Q50 shared that he's unsure whether to believe his father's claim about being kept away. There's no way for him to truly know. Because of that uncertainty, he chooses not to place blame on anyone. Growing up, he didn't ask about his father or feel his absence deeply, since he had other male role models in his life who filled that space. As mentioned earlier, Q50 attended school in Chicago but struggled with behavior issues, leading to multiple suspensions. Despite having a strong passion for basketball, his disciplinary record kept him off the school team. In 6th grade, around age 11 or 12, he was expelled for bringing a BB gun to school and firing it at a classmate he disliked. Although he tried to cover it up, His mother later discovered evidence. Since he had already passed the grade, Q50 treated the expulsion like an early summer break, spending his time playing video games. In 7th grade, Q50 had to sign a behavior contract warning that even making pretend guns, out of paper or with hand gestures, could result in permanent expulsion. The following year, in 8th grade, his mother preemptively withdrew him from school just 2 weeks before he was set to be expelled again due to frequent trouble. During this time, he was also enrolled in alternative education programs, which allowed him to keep up academically and move on to the next grade. Q50 went on to attend high school in Gary, Indiana. He completed his freshman year in person, but when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, schools shut down and classes moved online. He spent both his sophomore and junior years attending virtual classes from home. By his senior year, in-person classes resumed, and Q50 returned to finish school on campus. During his senior year, Q50 mostly kept to himself and didn't get involved in the gang cliques that often form in high school. He had a small circle and a few casual relationships but stayed low-key. Near the end of the year, a fight broke out after some guys confronted him over a girl. Although outnumbered, Q50 stood his ground, took one opponent down, and was then jumped by around 8 others. Years later, the video resurfaced online, and Q50 reposted it with the caption, "Now I got a hat for every dude that jumped me," followed by laughing emojis. Q50 didn't take the jumping hard, he brushed it off, saying that getting jumped is something that can happen to anyone. It didn't faze him or change his outlook. Q50 eventually graduated from high school by completing alternative education programs, honoring a promise he made to his mother. Though he finished school, he had no interest in college. He was already making money through street hustles in both Indiana and Chicago, frequently moving between the two. His focus was on growing that income and continuing the grind he was already familiar with. Q50 graduated high school in 2021 at just 17 years old. At that point, his hustling was still relatively low level and under the radar. But by 2022, things began to shift. He started spending more time in Chicago, especially with his cousin Lil Jeff, and reconnecting with the neighborhood he grew up in, MTV 079, immersing himself deeper into street life and the environment that would soon shape both his music and public persona. Q50's rap name, Bloodhound Q50, reflects two key parts of his identity: his favorite car, the Infiniti Q50, and his affiliation with Bloodhound, a tight-knit clique within the broader Drill City scene. It's important to note that while Bloodhound includes members from sets like Drill City, MTV, Mia Xivity, 400D, Chris World, and Wiz City, not all members of Drill City are Bloodhound, and vice versa. Some Trap City affiliates also once claimed Bloodhound, adding to its complex, sometimes fractured alliances. One of the early known members of Bloodhound 079 was Hothead, associated with BNC/Drill City 079. In early 2025, he was arrested and charged with attempted murder following a violent shooting incident on Chicago's East 87th Street, where a man was shot multiple times during a botched drug deal. Despite being shot 13 times, the victim ultimately survived after undergoing multiple surgeries. Other prominent figures within the Bloodhound clique include the Bates brothers, Dern, Swerve, Jamel, and Tay, all of whom are considered high-ranking members and are known for generating significant income through street activity. Each has faced multiple arrests, particularly for drug-related offenses. Additional influential members include Kells, CJ, Jay, Dink, Key, Dressy Bands, Chino, Cash, Kwame, J Boogie, and Poker Face, all of whom play key roles in the crew's operations and hierarchy. As of summer 2025, MTV-079 remains one of the most influential and active crews in Chicago's street landscape. Alliances in the city evolve quickly. What's solid today could collapse tomorrow. With tensions running higher than ever, even small disputes can erupt into lasting conflicts. MTV-079, a black disciple set formerly known as 079 Wrecktown, stands for Money Through Vernon. They're deeply tied to Drill City, not only as close allies but as a central pillar of the Bloodhound Alliance, which also includes 400E and formerly Trap City/Zone 7. MTV's network of allies extends to Drench Gang, Shorty Mob, Roblox/Burly Boys, Lamron, and Seno City BNC 078, connected through blood ties, shared enemies, and common experience. Opposing sets include longtime rivals like 8-Tray Mob, Evans Mob, Hits Squad, Pocket Town, KTS, and Lakeside. The set has produced several high-profile and feared names on the streets, including Lil Law, who also is affiliated with Lamron, Cash, Trey Savage, and most notably Q50, who stands at the center of this story, not just as an artist, but as a figure with deep roots in both the streets and the movement around him. Q50, member of MTV-079, jumped off the porch around 2021 or 2022, when he was just 17 or 18 years old. His path into the streets was heavily influenced by his environment, but more specifically, by his cousin Lil Jeff, who was already active in that world and a few years older. Another cousin, Z-Money, also played a major role, mentoring him and showing him the ropes early on. Like many young men in Chicago's gang culture, Q50's involvement started with small-scale drug dealing, then escalated to carrying firearms, firing at rivals, and eventually, alleged murders. His rise was fueled by encouragement from both older members and friends his own age, but his tight bond with Lil Jeff was especially significant in pushing him deeper into that life. One of the major challenges Q50 faced during this period was his struggle with drug addiction, which undeniably contributed to some of the chaotic and extreme behavior he became known for. Despite what many might think, Q50 didn't jump off the porch and immediately dive into violence. In the beginning, his focus, alongside his cousins and close friends, was all about making money. They hustled through narcotics, scams, and other street-level schemes, with Z-Money especially known for being sharp in that kind of game. For a while, the priority was strictly financial. But over time, that focus shifted. As the money came in, so did greed. They started robbing people at gunpoint, which led to tensions and retaliation. You robbed the wrong person, and suddenly you're in shootouts. The violence started to spiral. Then came the influence of older gang members, who handed them firearms and pushed them to take things further. What began as hustling for cash turned into something darker. The cycle of violence took over, and killing became part of the mission. Suddenly it's no longer about money, now it's about shooting and killing. Being driven solely by money isn't always a good thing. Money can push people to do extreme things. That's exactly what happened with Q50 and Lil Jeff when they were allegedly hired to carry out murders in another state. In February 2022, Q50, Slime 2, and Lil Jeff were allegedly approached for a murder-for-hire job by a man known as Cracks 414, a Milwaukee-based drug dealer who is also rumored to be Q50 and Slime 2's cousin. Cracks, who reportedly claims Bloodhound, was said to have a personal vendetta involving a group of individuals who owed him a significant sum of money. The trio was allegedly paid to carry out a hit at a house where the targets were located. Though the exact amount they received remains undisclosed, the operation was described as highly coordinated and carefully executed. According to accounts, they arrived in Milwaukee several days beforehand to receive instructions, source firearms and gear, and coordinate logistics with local contacts. On March 27, 2022, around 2 a.m., Q50, Slime 2, and Lil Jeff allegedly arrived at a residence near 54th and Mill Road in Milwaukee. The timing, late at night, meant most neighbors were asleep, making it difficult for police to later identify witnesses. According to reports, the trio forced entry by kicking in the front door, then opened fire inside the home. 3 men, 2 of them brothers, were found executed inside. After the shooting, the suspects fled the scene in a vehicle. It wasn't until the following day that concerned family members contacted authorities after one of the victims failed to check in. When officers arrived, they found the door ajar and all 3 victims deceased from multiple gunshot wounds. Milwaukee detectives believe the motive may have been tied to drug-related deaths, and at least one of the victims was suspected of involvement in narcotics. A police spokesperson emphasized the urgency of community cooperation, stating, "Someone capable of entering a home and killing 3 people must be held accountable before they do it again." The victims were identified as Anthony Thompson, 26, aka Juice, Clarence Harris, 52, aka Chicken Wang, and Tyrese McKinney, 39, aka Ty. 2 of them were brothers, making the tragedy even more devastating for their family. As Detective Keller put it, "It's already heartbreaking to lose one family member to violence, but losing 2 at once is unimaginable." Another family also lost a loved one, meaning 2 families were left grieving deeply after the brutal triple homicide. Q50, Slime 2, and Lil Jeff have allegedly referenced the Milwaukee triple homicide through both music and social media. In Big 3, Slime 2 raps, "On my first one, I caught 3, I swear to God I'm kind of different," a line widely interpreted as a boast about the March 2022 triple murder. In BH4L, Q50 raps, "People know I got bodies from state to state, in the mill, I'm clapping people for the pop," hinting at a paid hit in Milwaukee. Their cousin, Cracks 414, allegedly a Milwaukee-based drug dealer, once shared Q50's music on his Instagram story with an emoji of a person and a money bag over their head, a possible nod to contract killings. After Lil Jeff's death, several Milwaukee affiliates paid tribute to him, reflecting the respect he held there. Q50's connections to Milwaukee run deep. He not only has family in the city but also lived and attended school there before returning to Chicago. He also spent time in suburban Indiana before immersing himself fully in gang life. In the track 762, Q50 raps, "Been in Milwaukee too long, I went out there and dropped some SHT, only 19 but got 8 fitteds," suggesting both involvement and symbolism in the use of fitteds to reference kills. Another song includes the line, "First time sliding, went up 3, directly alluding to the triple homicide. Q50 was now a killer, and on his first hit, he allegedly took 3 lives. Later that same year, after keeping a low profile for a few months, he was reportedly involved in a 4th murder. However, there's considerable controversy surrounding this case and whether Q50 was actually involved. The shooting took place around 2:45 p.m. on West 95th Street near South Lafayette Avenue, close to a McDonald's, in an area known as 095 mob territory. According to police reports, the victims were standing on the sidewalk when an unknown shooter opened fire, with one man named Boogie as the intended target. Boogie was hit multiple times and tragically died at Christ Hospital. A 27-year-old man was also shot in the back and taken to Christ Hospital, where he remains in good condition. Additionally, a 49-year-old woman was shot in the right arm and hospitalized at the University of Chicago Medical Center, where she remains in serious condition. Skycam 9 footage captured a bullet hole in the McDonald's window, highlighting the violence of the attack. The two individuals rumored to have carried out this hit are Q50 and Lil Jeff. Allegedly, they targeted 095 Mob because of their ties to 8 Trey Mob. However, it's important to understand that some hits happen spontaneously. Shooters often move through enemy territories looking for targets without a specific plan. Q50 taunted Boogie in one of his songs, rapping, "Since 95th want a troll, ask them why they can eat at that one spot." The McDonald's he referenced actually closed down after Boogie's death. Adding to the mystery, a 095 Mob member paid tribute to Boogie on the same day Lil Jeff died, which many see as a sign that the killer is also dead. Still, it's not confirmed that Lil Jeff and Q50 were behind the shooting. Some believe Boogie was killed by Rack City or Nateville due to their long-standing feud with 095 Mob. Tragically, the two others shot alongside Boogie were his younger brother and mother. Q50 even rapped about this, saying, "His mama got hit, she was in the way, that kind of shit just happened," followed by the adlib, "F that BH." In his song 762, Q50 raps, "Please don't run, don't trip, that's how Boogie got killed," referencing the tragic circumstances of the shooting. A friend of Boogie's who witnessed the shooting shared that Boogie had been trying to turn his life around. He had landed a good job and was focused on taking care of his daughter. The tragedy is that once you've been involved in gang life, second chances are rare. People never forget what you've done or the damage caused to lives and families. No matter how much you try to change, you remain a target. Often, the only way to escape that life is by leaving Chicago altogether. And even then, sometimes it's not enough. This incident shattered at least one family. Boogie's brother was shot in the leg, and he witnessed his brother being killed and his mother getting shot in the arm. You can only imagine the trauma that causes, and Boogie definitely has people around him who will never let this go. In March 2023, the 06679 movement was effectively shattered when Q50's cousin was killed by Trap City. The cousin, Bloodhound Z Money from Drill City, was fatally shot on March 16, 2023. Z Money, whose real name was Zaire Nelson, was sitting in a parked car in mixed mob territory when another vehicle pulled up alongside, and someone inside opened fire. He was rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center but was pronounced dead at just 22 years old. Z Money's mother, Kisha, received a heartbreaking call from his girlfriend, who was screaming in despair, telling her he was gone. At the hospital, doctors informed Kisha that Z Money had arrived as a gunshot victim and was dead on arrival. When she asked how many times he'd been shot, the doctor replied, "We stopped counting at 29. No arrests had been made." Detectives told Kisha that Z Money was killed in Avalon Park while trying to flee after someone fired at the car he was in. His friend had briefly stepped away to drop off clothes for tailoring when the shooting happened. Upon hearing the gunfire, the friend returned fire, saw Zaire lying on the ground, and then fled the scene. No arrests have been made, But rumors have been swirling, and it's not hard to connect the dots given how 6679 fell apart after Z Money's murder. The killing is allegedly linked to Lil Cap and Darrow from Trap City. Lil Cap is currently behind bars on an unrelated gun charge. Bloodhound Q50 confirmed this during an Instagram livestream with Lil Jeff. Some doubt the backdoor theory because of how brutal the murder was, but if it weren't true, it likely would have been disproven by now. Both sides are well aware of the rumors. So, why did Trap City backdoor Z Money? Word is the conflict started when Z Money and Lil from Trap City got into an argument over a woman and a gun. Lil then reportedly leaked his location to Lil Cap, which ignited the full-blown war between Drill City/MTV and Trap City, who used to be like family, just like many other clashes across the city. But there's more to the story that happened before Z Money's death, specifically, the notorious chain incident involving Lil Jeff and a Trap City member known as Stalk in a Bag Carter. Lil Jeff took the chain but later returned to Trap City's turf, claiming he lost it during a high-speed police chase. However, two Trap City members saw through the lie and confronted him, sparking a chase during which they started shooting at Lil Jeff. One of Lil Jeff's friends then jumped out of a car and fired back, hitting a Trap City member who luckily survived. This incident greatly escalated tensions, and Z Money's murder later cemented the rivalry into an all-out, on-site war. Trap City members openly discussed the chain incident in an interview with X-Man Rico, and Carter himself spoke about it as well. Around the same time, Lil Jeff also assaulted Big Motion from Trap City, forcing him to say F Lil, and he shot D3, another Trap City member. The death of Z Money drastically changed both Q50 and Lil Jeff. What started as mostly hustling with their crew turned into them becoming full-blown street psychopaths, constantly hunting their enemies. Over the next 4 years, the duo terrorized their rivals, carried out countless drills, and racked up multiple bodies. They were ruthless and didn't hesitate to brag about their actions openly on social media. Shortly after Z Money's murder, tensions exploded when Q50 was shot. Although he survived, the attack pushed Lil Jeff over the edge. According to Q50, Lil Jeff went wild after the shooting. The people allegedly behind the attempt on Q50's life were Trap City, the same group responsible for killing Z Money just a month prior. On June 25, 2023, Q50 and Lil Jeff finally got their revenge for their cousin, Z Money. The two were lying in wait on the 1300 block of West Taylor Street, where Lil from Trap City worked. After some time, they spotted their target leaving his job and heading toward an Uber waiting nearby. The area was close to Tenna Mob's territory. Lil was seated in the back of the Uber when Lil Jeff stepped out, armed with a Draco, and opened fire on the rear window. Photos from the scene show 12 bullet holes, with Lil struck by 7 shots. Lil Jeff, allegedly the shooter, demonstrated skilled marksmanship and control over the weapon. The Uber driver, Robert, recalled that Lil had just settled into the car in Little Italy when he heard screeching tires and saw a gun aimed at the back window. Robert sped down Taylor Street as the gunman fired continuously for 2 blocks. When he finally looked back, he saw Lil badly wounded in the back seat. Robert rushed to the nearest hospital, but tragically, Lil died at only 19 years old. While processing the crime scene, investigators recovered a handgun from the back seat of the Uber, believed to have belonged to Leal. The driver, Robert, suspected that the shooter had been tailing Leal, waiting for the moment he was boxed in. According to Robert, Leal had just stepped into the vehicle when another car sped up and stopped abruptly. A gunman emerged, aimed at the rear window, and opened fire. A witness reported seeing a person in a black hoodie shooting at the Uber, while another saw someone matching that description walking west afterward. About 20 days after Leal's death, Lil Jeff posted a photo on Instagram with a caption quoting NBA YoungBoy lyrics, "You ain't SHD to me, just another hat, call his mama, I'll help her bury him." While these lyrics are from a song and not necessarily a direct confession, the timing made it feel intentional and targeted. The day after, Q50 shared a story with a photo of himself and Lil Jeff playing the song All These Dudes, which includes the line, "Dude said that he be throwing shots, I bet he catch 'em back." In his own music, Lil Jeff made direct references that fans and enemies alike interpreted as linked to Leal's murder. In one unreleased track with Lil Scoom of Burly Boys, he rapped, "When I ran up on that car, he looked up and he was stuck," seemingly describing the moment Leal was ambushed. In another song, he raps, "They shot my cousin but ain't kill him, for some weeks straight we was spinning, but the only difference is, when SSSCHHH got caught, we killed him." The lyrics, posts, and timing all fueled speculation that Q50 and Lil Jeff were not only involved in the killing but openly referencing it in their music and online presence. Not long after Leal's murder, Q50 and Lil Jeff reportedly crossed paths with Lil Cap from Trap City while he was driving. They allegedly opened fire, hitting or grazing him, which caused Lil Cap to crash his vehicle. Though he survived, police who responded to the scene found a firearm in his possession, resulting in his arrest and a conviction on gun charges. He's currently serving time and is expected to be released in 2025. Lil Jeff referenced this encounter in his song 333, rapping, "Caught Lil Cap in traffic, he ain't blow his pipe." Five months after Leal's death, Q50 allegedly claimed his sixth and seventh bodies in a double homicide. In November 2023, Q50 and Lil Jeff were involved in a deal to purchase stolen vehicles from Donardo Lil Deuce Buford at Foster Park. When one of the cars didn't meet their expectations, they believed Lil Deuce was attempting to scam them. Seeking retaliation, they arranged a second meeting under false pretenses. On November 1st, in the 8300 block of South Dorchester in Avalon Park, they met Lil Deuce again, this time with no intention to buy. During the meetup, Q50 allegedly opened fire, fatally shooting Lil Deuce multiple times. Also caught in the crossfire was Deuce's girlfriend, Desaiah D-Money McGee, who was struck in the torso and later died at the University of Chicago Medical Center. Lil Deuce was 19, and D-Money was 25. Both suspects fled the scene on foot. Lil Deuce was a member of Foster Park, a Black P. Stone set based in Auburn Gresham. His girlfriend, Desaiah D-Money McGee, was far from a bystander. She was affiliated with Hottie Way and also claimed ties to Jarrow City and E-Block, both known rivals of Drill City. Rumors suggest she was actively involved in street activity, including scamming, robberies, and even shootings. Some speculated she may have been the actual target, but sources indicate she was likely collateral, eliminated because she witnessed the hit. Deuce was shot multiple times, while D-Money was struck once. The shooting took place in mixed mob-controlled territory, a group hostile toward Drill City. 3 months later, Q50 struck again, this time claiming 2 more lives and marking his second double homicide in just 3 months. In a city where violence is tragically frequent, this level of calculated brutality still stood out. The victims, Monty, also known as Drench, and Lil Rob from Nitty Block, were gunned down in January 2024. What made this case especially high profile was the location, downtown Chicago, near Wabash and Washington, as the two were leaving school with friends. The public nature of the shooting even prompted a police press conference. Monty and Lil Rob were affiliated with BKN/Nitty Block, a West Side set tied to the 4CH Alliance. While media portrayals often cast them as innocent victims, Monty, also known as Drench, was rumored to be a feared figure with a violent track record. He was allegedly linked to the June 2023 killings of Lil Tuda and Lil Kato from GHSM. Monty openly boasted about these acts in interviews and was well respected within his circle. Interestingly, both Monty and Lil Jeff were once on friendly terms, even appearing on FaceTime together before things turned deadly. So, what exactly pushed Q50 and the others to allegedly kill Monty and Lil Rob in such a brutal and risky way? The answer centers around a dispute involving a pair of watches. Some claimed Monty had outright robbed Lil Jeff, but while that's possible, I seriously doubt it was a simple robbery. At this point, Lil Jeff was a full-blooded savage with multiple bodies to his name, always strapped and ready. He wasn't someone who'd get robbed without a violent response. Most people believe Monty took the watches from Jeff, then spread rumors claiming he had robbed him. Whether true or not, in the drill scene, the perception alone was enough to make Jeff look weak, like someone who had his watches stolen by another gang member, who then flexed with them on Instagram, embarrassing Jeff and damaging his reputation. According to Lil Jeff himself, Monty had asked to borrow the watches just for a photo, but instead ran out of the crib with them. The sad irony here is that those watches were most likely fake and probably stolen from someone else by Jeff in the first place, meaning they probably weren't even his to lend or lose. To make things worse, Get Back. From BKN flaunted the watches in a music video a couple of months later during a back and forth diss exchange between Bloodhound and BKN members, and others from BKN have done the same in various hood vlogs. This petty flexing added fuel to the fire. But at the end of the day, the saddest part is that two young men, Monty and Lil Rob, who had their whole lives ahead of them, ended up dead over what essentially boiled down to nonsense over some fake watches and bruised pride. On January 26, 2024, Monty and Lil Rob had spent the entire day at school, but they weren't exactly focused on their classes. Instead, they were smoking and recording videos just hours before their tragic deaths. About 4 hours before the shooting, Monty posted a video with Lil Rob, showing them smoking right where they would later be attacked. Around the same time, Pooh Man from BKN shared a photo of Lil Rob holding an assault rifle, adding a chilling context to the day's events. At approximately 12:26 p.m., as Monty and Lil Rob were leaving school, a dark-colored car and a dark SUV pulled up beside them. Several gunmen dressed in dark clothing, including one of the drivers, jumped out and approached the two from behind before opening fire. Both Monty and Lil Rob were hit multiple times. Within just 20 seconds, the shooters fled the scene, speeding away in their vehicles. Many have seen this surveillance footage of the attack, but I won't be sharing or recommending anyone watch it. The aftermath video, showing Monty and Lil Rob lying wounded on the ground, is equally harrowing. Lil Rob appeared unconscious, likely already dead, while Monty struggled for his final breaths before losing consciousness moments later. Bystanders tried to help, but both teens were too severely injured. They were rushed to a nearby hospital, where they were pronounced dead. Both had been shot in the chest, and Monty also suffered a gunshot wound to the hip. The whole event was devastating and left a community in mourning. Monty, whose full name was Monterio Williams, was just 17, only 2 weeks away from turning 18, when he was killed. According to his mother, Blondian, he had recently found a trade school to attend after graduation and was excited about his future. That morning, she dropped him off at school, unaware it would be the last time she'd see him alive. Lil Rob, born Robert Boston, was only 16. Their school issued a heartfelt statement expressing deep sorrow, calling the shooting a tragedy that shook students, staff, and the larger community. Deputy Chief John Hine of the Chicago Police Department labeled the shooting a senseless act of violence, noting that a bystander's coat was even grazed by a stray bullet. Activist Andrew Holmes, speaking to the Chicago Sun-Times, said both families are devastated and demanding answers. Reports suggest there were between 4 and 6 shooters involved, though it's difficult to confirm the exact number from surveillance footage. According to reports, multiple gunmen, estimated between 4 and 6, emerged from 2 vehicles during the ambush. The names most frequently linked to the hit include Lil Jeff, J-Mo, and Vert from Drill City, Q50 from MTV, and T-Slick from Dottie Road. Lil Jeff has consistently mocked the victims, particularly Monty, in both music and on social media. In one Instagram video, he hinted at 2 double murders spaced weeks apart, likely referencing the killings of Lil Deuce and D-Money, followed by Monty and Lil Rob. Jeff also posted a photo of 2 watches on his wrist with the caption, "Tried to turn me down but they turned me up," which many interpreted as a response to Monty allegedly stealing his watches, a key motive in the slangs. After Monty and Lil Rob's deaths, a photo surfaced showing Lil Jeff and T-Slick pointing 4 guns at a TV screen showing BKN member Get Back Dodd, appearing to celebrate the attack. In Jeff's song Ah, believed to reference the screams during the shooting, he raps, "Bounced out with 4 sticks, 2 people got hit." In another track, LAX, he closes with a taunt, "We really spank stuff, turn Zaw into Zaw, smoke you like some Zaw," taking a direct shot at Monty, who was known by the nickname Zaw. The line doubles as a weed reference, implying he's now smoking his enemy. As many of you know, 2 suspects tied to the double murder have now been taken into custody, T-Slick from Dottie Road and J-Mo from Drill City. T-Slick was the first to be arrested on January 31, 2025, followed by J-Mo just 4 days later on February 4. J-Mo's involvement had been overlooked initially, but video evidence later surfaced showing him clearly visible in the backseat of a car with Lil Jeff and T-Slick, shortly after the murders. Authorities believe there were 6 total people involved, 4 shooters and 2 drivers. With Lil Jeff deceased, that leaves 3 suspects still at large. Based on mounting speculation and ongoing investigations, it's likely that Vert and Q50 may also be arrested soon. The conflict between BKN and Drill City remains intense, with Q50 continuing to taunt the memory of Mondi and Lil Rob both in his lyrics and on social media. For example, he posted a photo of the late Poohman from BKN with the caption "Dead and Gone." Although Poohman was killed on September 9, 2023, his death wasn't linked to Drill City or MTV. Still, tensions have escalated. BKN is actively seeking revenge, and with Lil Jeff gone, Q50, allegedly involved in the double homicide, has become their main target. Q50, known for his violent reputation, often boasts in music about having 8 bodies to his name. Five months after the downtown double homicide, Bloodhound allegedly struck again, this time with possible involvement from Lil Jeff. On May 12, 2024, Khalil Dunbar, also known as Baby KD from 8 Trey Mob/Evans Mob, was shot in the neck while in an alley near 10,800 South Indiana Avenue. He later died at the hospital at age 22. Baby KD was considered a key figure in 8 Trey Mob, rumored to have a violent past. While Q50 and Lil Jeff were widely speculated to be behind the hit, Q50 even updated his body count afterward. There's no confirmed evidence linking them directly. 8 Trey Mob, for their part, denies losing any members to rivals. Just days after the murder of Baby KD, Q50 and Lil Jeff were allegedly back on the offensive. Tensions between Bloodhound and TMC had already flared after Lil Jeff reportedly set up and robbed 6300 Beedro, a known member of TMC. According to sources, Beedro had reached out to Jeff to purchase drugs, but when they met, Jeff pulled a gun, assaulted both Beedro and his girlfriend, and took his jewelry. This brazen move escalated tensions between the two groups, prompting a wave of retaliation talk from TMC's side. However, the violence escalated even further just a few days after KD's death, when Q50 and Jeff allegedly caught up with Slide from TMC. Slide was shot in the head and rushed to the hospital, where he remained on life support for months. While initial reports varied, some saying he was paralyzed, others claiming he was in a vegetative state, it was later confirmed that Slide died from his injuries. Despite TMC being known more for hustling than direct violence, their sudden involvement with Bloodhound, likely through drug transactions, seemed to draw them into deadly territory. Q50, known for his lack of remorse, later mocked Slide repeatedly online and in music, turning yet another tragedy into part of his ongoing taunts against rivals. By this point, it was clear to nearly everyone, both in Chicago and beyond, that Q50 and Lil Jeff were spiraling out of control. Their names were becoming synonymous with constant violence, robberies, shootings, and murders seemed to follow them wherever they went. The two had built reputations as fearless and reckless, racking up bodies at a pace that even shocked the streets. Lil Jeff, in particular, was rumored to be well into double-digit kills if you believed his own claims. But this kind of run always comes with an expiration date. When you're moving recklessly, stacking bodies, and leaving a trail of enemies, it's only a matter of time before the streets catch up with you. Either you're going to end up in a cell or a casket, especially if you don't know when or how to stop. And just 1 month after the slide shooting, that grim reality hit. To no one's surprise, news broke: Lil Jeff had been shot and killed. On June 8, 2024, Lil Jeff from Bloodhound met a sudden and violent end in Trap City. Around 5:15 p.m., Jeff was out sliding with Q50, Vert, and T-Slick when they pulled up near 6647 S Roads. They slowed down after spotting someone, and Jeff jumped out of the black car without hesitation, gun drawn, and chased a man wearing yellow shorts toward a nearby home. As Jeff reached the doorstep, well ahead of his crew, gunfire erupted from inside the house. Armed with a rifle, the person inside let off a devastating burst, hitting Jeff roughly 15 times in the chest and torso. The surveillance footage showed the sheer force of the shots knocking Jeff off his feet, eerily reminiscent of a war film scene. In another camera angle, Q50 and Vert could be seen momentarily frozen in shock, lowering their weapons as Jeff was gunned down and then stood over. For a moment, the group froze, visibly stunned as they watched Lil Jeff go down, weapons lowered in disbelief. Seconds later, they snapped out of it and opened fire, but it was already too late to save him. While returning fire, Q50 suddenly slipped on the wet pavement, twisting his knee in a fall that initially looked like he'd been shot. Surveillance footage later revealed it was just a misstep. Limping, he made his way back to the car. Vert and T-Slick fired a few more rounds before they all sped off from the scene. Minutes after the shooting, Q50, Vert, and T-Slick returned to the scene where Lil Jeff lay, carefully retrieving his body and rushing him to the hospital. The shooters inside the house had likely already fled, but the trio stayed alert, bracing for a possible ambush as they moved through Trap City, knowing the danger was far from over. It was a risky move, especially since Lil Jeff had taken 19 rifle shots to the upper body and was likely already dead. Yet, despite the odds, Q50, Vert, and T-Slick refused to leave their friend behind. Lil Jeff, whose real name was Jeffrey Harris, was rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where he was tragically pronounced dead. Meanwhile, the man Lil Jeff had been chasing was also shot in the chest but survived after receiving treatment at the hospital. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Who was the man Lil Jeff was chasing? And who fired the shots that killed Lil Jeff from inside the house? Let's start with the man in the yellow pants, Man, also known as Mineski, from Trap City/Zone 7. What makes this even more notable is that Lil Jeff and Q50 had already shot him a few months before this incident. That he survived after taking 15 shots from them is nothing short of a miracle. Q50 even bragged about it in the song Overkill, featuring T-Slick, Vert, and Lil Skum, rapping, "Jeff gave him 5, I gave him 10, I guess that wasn't enough," followed by the adlib Glenn, which is Man's real name. He also spits, "How you ain't die. You took 15 hits." What remains unclear, though, is why Lil Jeff and Q50 were so determined to take Man out, or if it was just pure bad luck that Man got caught slipping twice in the same year by the same people. The shooter who fired from inside the house is often blamed on Lil Rob from Trap City, but that's mostly a rumor. This idea started on Reddit because Rob had written on the house and was arrested there before. Bloggers and Rob himself fueled the hype by mocking Lil Jeff online, turning Rob's name into a meme called Unk Gang. Honestly, I'm doubtful Rob was the shooter. I've spoken to people from both sides who say it wasn't him, and that Rob only ran with the story for internet clout. He even told Bloodhound he wasn't involved. I don't think he was there at all. The real shooter is still unknown to me, but based on what I've heard, it probably wasn't Rob, though I can't say for sure. Recently, Rob posted a story saying, his switch ain't jam, he missed all them shots and died, responding to Q50 and Scrooly G's song Rappers, which references the shooting. Whether the gun jammed, clicked, or shots were missed remains unclear. On June 22nd, Lil Jeff's funeral took place, drawing gang members from various sets, as well as family and friends. Lil Jeff's girlfriend shared several photos from the service, including one in front of a wreath of roses where she made a gesture dropping the letter Y with her hand. Also seen at the funeral were Vert, Q50, and Big Ob. The funeral button read, The Reaper. Lil Jeff never really stood a chance. After his death, his mother posted a conversation with him on Instagram, where she encouraged him to slide on people and said she thought it was cool that his name made waves in the streets. It's heartbreaking to see parents raising their kids this way. Many mourned his loss, especially his cousin and closest friend, Q50, who shared multiple stories expressing how much he misses Lil Jeff. One post read, "You went how you wanted to, on my dead grandma."
Blood in, blood out, bro.
I don't let her bully. I don't let her bully.
Know that, man.
Ain't Drake, man.
Blood in, blood out, bro.
I love you, brother.
Know that, man.
Damn, fool.
Oh, yeah, Reeves.
Q50 was deeply affected by Lil Jeff's death, not just by the loss itself, but by witnessing his cousin get gunned down and having to carry his lifeless body afterward. It left a lasting impact. In the weeks that followed, Q50 was frequently out sliding, but was soon arrested on drug and firearm charges. He was released quickly and began focusing more on music, especially in late 2024. That summer, he dropped Splash Brothers, which went viral with over 8 million views. He also released Triple 3 with Lil Scoom and Lil Jeff, which has since hit 15 million views. By 2025, Q50 had stepped even further into the spotlight, doing interviews with DJ Vlad, DJ UTV, Adam22, and others. As mentioned earlier, Q50 has a rare talent for staying relevant, and recently joined a livestream with Neon that drew major attention. Just a few days ago, he released Splash Brothers 2, which already has over 500,000 views. Q50 isn't just surviving, he's building a serious career and making real money in the process. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Rest in peace to all the innocents and gang members who have lost their lives to Chicago's brutal gang violence. May God bless you all.